or good afternoon, everyone. It's 12:30 Eastern. I know it's afternoon here in Boston, at least. I'm Hank Philippi Ryan, and this is another edition, episode 129 of all things, of First Chapter Fun, where every week at Tuesday and Thursday at 12:30 p.m. Eastern, the fabulous Hannah Mary McKinnon and I bring you the first chapter of a terrific new book we read right here on Instagram and here on Facebook, where it says we are live. Now is the fun time. All of you who have been here before, like Glennie and Diane and Jen, who I see on Instagram, will know that this is where we all battle to see whether on Facebook right here it will let me see the comments. And so it is not. So let me just give me a minute to try something here to see if I can see the comments, and that will work. And I am looking to see whether we are live here on Facebook. If so, I should be able to see us, and there we are. And now I can see the comments. Hi, Jacqueline. Hi, Shanson. Hi, Glennie. And hi, Catlaw. So wonderful. I can now see the comments on Facebook by looking at another screen, which is pretty interesting and kind of distracting, but okay, we can do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome to you all. So wonderful to see you here on First Chapter Fun. Hi, Jacqueline and Robin and Carrie and Grace and Beth. So nice to see you all here. And Julie Carrick Dalton is here. She is our author for the day. I see her here on Instagram, and that lets me show you the book we are reading today, Waiting for the Night Song, by Julie Carrick Dalton, which is quite extraordinary, and I cannot wait to read it to you. Hannah Mary McKinnon and I, my partner in fictional crime, right here on First Chapter Fun, are so enthusiastic about this book. We love bringing you debut authors, and Julie Carrick Dalton's book has been one of the buzziest debuts of the year so far. I know you've heard of it. Here's Kristen Bear O'Keefe, whose Agatha Arch is Afraid of Everything we read a couple of days ago, and I know we're all still laughing about that. I see Susan and Robin and Barbara and everyone. This is so great on Facebook. So nice to see you all. Welcome, welcome. This is where Hannah Mary McKinnon and I read the first chapter of a new book every Tuesday and Thursday. Not our own, of course, but when we do have a new book, and both of us have them in the works, I must say, of course, we will bring you those first chapters as well. I got, now a word from our sponsor. I got some wonderful news this week. My book, The First to Lie, which you can see casually behind me on the shelf, was just nominated for the Mary Higgins Clark Award. So that is a big deal and quite fantastic. And my new book was just released. The cover of my new book was just released, Her Perfect Life, which comes out in September. So I hope you saw the cover, because it is quite astonishing. If you haven't seen it, message me and I'll send you a picture of it and some info about it, because it's quite extraordinary, and we've had a wonderful time working on it. Forge did a great job on it. So welcome again. If you are a veteran, we welcome you here so much. It's been so amazing to get to know you. Hannah Mary McKinnon, as you know, who is in Toronto, and I'm in Boston. Hannah Mary McKinnon started First Chapter Fun at the beginning of the pandemic, almost a year ago now, to keep us all together and to make a community and to share our love of reading and our sense of connection. And we have grown so tremendously thanks to you all. It's been absolutely a joy to read you these first chapters. And as you know, we are booked almost to the end of the year. I think, Hannah, didn't you book someone for 2022, which is insanely great. And thank you for all the kind words I'm seeing in the comments now about the cover. It is beautiful. Katie Klim, the artist at Forge, really did a spectacular job. But today let's focus on Julie Carrick Dalton, my sister at Forge Books, actually, and her wonderful book, Waiting for the Night Song. I have an interesting story to tell you about this, and it's not only about Julie's talent, but about how the writing community worked. I was a judge, and bear with me for this. I was a judge for a story slam contest at a bookstore around Boston called Belmont Books, a wonderful independent bookstore. And Julie was one of the contestants. So two other authors and I were the judges. I think Edwin Hill, whose book we've read here, and Crystal King, another author you'll have to meet, and I were the judges. And Julie gets up to perform her story. It was a story slam. Julie gets up to perform her story and just hit it out of the ballpark. It was one of the funniest, cleverest, most hilarious stories I've ever heard. And Julie performed it like crazy. And I gave her a 10 out of 10. I gave her a 10. It was an instant 10. And she won. And afterward, I went up to her in the bookstore and I said, you are a stunning talent. You're absolutely amazing. That was brilliant. What are you doing? What's in your life and what's new with you? And she said that she was writing a book. And I said, oh, I want to see that. Please let me see that book. And it turned out, long story short, I know, too late now, the story's been long. Turned out that she had sent it, her agent had sent it many places, but one of the many people who loved it was Forge Books. And my editor actually was reading her book at the same time, which is so nuts. And so I took her, she gave me her manuscript and I read it so quickly because it was so good. And I called her and I said, Julie, this is a treasure. You are a rock star and this book is going to be fantastic. And there it was. So I'm totally taking credit for Julie Carrick Dalton's success, which is ridiculous because I had nothing to do with it except to be one of the first people in the public who was incredibly enthusiastic about Waiting for the Night Song. It had a different title when it first was written, and I don't remember what that was because it is so thoroughly Waiting for the Night Song at this point now. So congratulations to Julie on your wild success. And I know the Story Slam seems far in the past, but someday we should invite you on First Chapter Fun. Hannah Mary McKinnon and I will invite you here to perform that story about the broken wine glass in the dishwasher and the night the police came. I mean, it was called 4 Degrees. Julie is saying, not the Story Slam story, but Waiting for the Night Song was called 4 Degrees. So quickly, let me tell you, right here on Instagram and here on Facebook, the technology seems to be working, knock on wood, but if it crashes and boots us out, we will come back and do it again. So it's us, not you, probably. And Hannah is saying something that I wanted to remember too, which is, we have the fun facts on every Sunday and Friday, something like that. On Sunday, we put a fun fact about the book. And on Friday, we put a fun fact about the author, something that, something special, something unique, something that you might not know. So Friday's fun fact about Julie is amazing because I just burst out laughing. When I read it because I thought, come on, somebody actually does that. So I'll leave it to you to read it tomorrow on Friday. So be sure to read the fun fact about Julie Dalton. So many facts about Julie Dalton are incredible and touching and heartwarming and amazing. She's so generous and a wonderful teacher and has helped so many writers along their path. So we're just thrilled to have her today to read from Waiting for the Night Song. Let me tell you a little bit about Julie Carrick Dalton. Welcome. I'm seeing here's Jen Jumba and here's Patty Donahue from the East Coast of Florida. I can't see that. It's too difficult to tell you, but it's hard to see the comments, but I see them. And Allie is saying fun facts are a great insight, and they are. That's one of the things that we love about them because we want to know you, and we want you to know things about the author that you might not hear anywhere else but here on First Chapter Fun. Hi, Lilia. And she's saying hooray for Julie Dalton, and we're all saying that too. And Julie's saying, I have photos of the fun fact to share tomorrow. See, this is a community, and you will You will love it. So without further ado, although I know Jen Jumba here on Instagram loves the ado, and we do the ado for you. That is so true. So here is a little bit about Julie Carrick Dalton. And here's Lisa. Welcome from the UK, I think, where it is. Who knows what time it is in the UK, but welcome. A little bit about Julie Carrick Dalton. Julie Carrick Dalton's debut novel, Waiting for the Night Song, has been named to most anticipated 2021 book lists by several platforms, including Newsweek, BuzzFeed, and Medium, and is an Amazon editor's pick for Best Books of the Month in January. Her second novel, The Last Beekeeper, is due for release in 2022. And make sure we get a date for you, Julie. We want to be the first right here on First Chapter Fun to read The Last Beekeeper. As a journalist, Julie has published more than 1,000 articles in publications including the Boston Globe, BusinessWeek, the Hollywood Reporter, Electric Literature, and the Chicago Review of Books. A Tin House alum, 2021 Bread Loaf Environmental Writers Conference Fellow, and a graduate of GrubStreet's Novel Incubator, Julie holds a Master in Literature and Creative Writing from Harvard Extension School. She is the winner of the William Faulkner Literary Competition and a member of the Climate Fiction Writers League, and is a frequent speaker and workshop leader on the topic of fiction in the age of climate crisis. Mom to 4 kids and 2 dogs, Julie also owns and operates a small organic farm. Now, I think that might be the first Chapter Fun author who has operated a small organic farm. So we will have to find out all about that. Welcome to Margaret and Davnit and Tanya. Thank you so much, all of you, for being here today. We're reading Davnit's book coming up very soon, so be here for that. So before I read the first pages of the chapter, let me tell you a little bit about the book, which we read with kind permission from Julie Carrick Dalton herself and our marvelous publisher, Forge Books. Thank you to all for permission to do that. We can't read these without permission, so we're very pleased to have that. A little bit about Waiting for the Night Song. Here's the cover. I'm going to show it to you a couple more times, but I just want you to see that gorgeous, subtle pink and purple, which is so beautiful. And the cover designer for Julie's book is the same as the cover designer for my book, Her Perfect Life, Katie Klim, who is obviously a genius. And you know what? I'm going to read you something from the back of the book, which is my blurb on the back, which I'm so proud of, which says, "A riveting and heartbreaking coming-of-age story. Fans of Delia Owens will swoon to find their new favorite author." Because it did remind me of Where the Crawdads Sing, and this sort of gorgeous understanding of nature and the beautiful setting and the love for all creatures and all of nature and sort of the spiritual quality of it. Although this takes place in New England and Delia Owens' book takes place in the South. So Alita is here for my favorite authors, she said, and Nancy Hayes. And the Hawaii Project joined. Welcome, welcome. You'll have to come and talk to us about your new app, which we are very delighted about. So please put in the comments is the word I'm searching for so crazily, all about that new app, because we want everybody to know about a way to connect with authors, and we're all very grateful for that. So, Waiting for the Night Song. A startling and timely debut, Julie Carrick Dalton's Waiting for the Night Song is a moving, brilliant novel about friendships forged in childhood magic and ruptured by the high price of secrets that leave you forever changed. Katie Kessler has spent decades trying to cover up one truth, one moment. But deep down, didn't she always know her secret would surface? An urgent message from her long-estranged best friend, Daniela Garcia, brings Katie, now a forestry researcher, back to her childhood home. There, Katie and Daniela are forced to face a dark secret that ended both their idyllic childhood bond and the magical summer that takes up more space in Katie's memory than all her other years combined. Now grown up, Bound by long-held oaths and faced with truths she does not wish to see, Katie must decide what she is willing to sacrifice to protect the people and the forest she loves, as drought, foreclosures, and wildfire spark tensions between displaced migrant farm workers and locals. Waiting for the Night Song is a love song to the natural beauty around us, a call to fight for what we believe in, and a reminder that truth will always rise. I mean, does that sound wonderful? It's wonderful, and it is wonderful. So let us read you now the first chapter of Waiting for the Night Song by Julie Carrick Dalton. I'll put on my glasses for this, right? You ready? You're cozy and cuddled in. Take the Day Off to Read is here, and Brenda Gaskell, thank you for being here, and Lynn and Susan and Jamie Harrigan, who keeps track of us with Allie on Goodreads, and Nancy Hayes, wonderful to see you. So here is, and Helene Mario. Oh my goodness, everybody is here today. This is fantastic. Welcome to you all. And you are very smart to be here today for this book. Chapter 1, Present Day. Truth hides in fissures and hollows, in broken places and empty parts. It can be buried, crushed, or burnt, but the truth will always rise. The specific truth Katie Kessler stalked came in the form of the mountain pine beetle. She pried a strip of bark off a dying pine tree. Her fingers, blistered and raw from hunting the elusive creature, froze as a gush of insects writhed against the exposed wood. They scattered for cover, but not fast enough. Got you. Her voice, scratchy and dry from not having spoken in days, echoed off granite boulders in the sparse forest. She scraped the beetles into a small envelope and tilted her head up to the morning sun. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. She braced herself and answered her boss's call. What's up, Thea? I looked at the images you sent yesterday. How am I supposed to present this? You're clearly on restricted federal lands. Katie didn't respond. If we publish your research, we'd have to detail where we got the samples. Then you'd get arrested for trespassing. This is bullshit, and you know it. This is public land. I should be able to collect samples on public land. Katie knew Thea agreed with her, but she needed to yell at someone. If we don't get control of this infestation now, it's going to get out of control fast, and in this drought, it's all going to burn. Look what happened in California. It's the same beetle. Getting yourself arrested isn't going to help prove your case. Taking advantage of the clear cell signal, Katie checked her messages as Thea talked on speakerphone. I don't like it any more than you do, Thea said. Katie scrolled through messages, stopping at a subject heading that grabbed her attention. Bicknell's thrush. The tiny songbird, a favorite from Katie's childhood, had all but disappeared from the New England woodlands in recent years. The message came from a grad student named Piper. Katie didn't have time to deal with students, but the thrush. Are you listening to me? Thea said. Yeah, I'm here. What do you want me to do? Pretend I don't know the forest is at risk of a devastating fire because of some ridiculous regulation? Katie said as she read Piper's message. Hey, Cadence, I'm working on a project to protect and recreate habitat for Bicknell's thrush, and I found what I think is a bark beetle infestation. Can you confirm? Piper included a photo dated 3 days earlier, though Katie knew the government had closed off that particular forest to environmental research in April. Where are you anyway? Thea said. Please tell me you aren't anywhere near Mount Griffin. That fire is moving fast. Uptick in local temps are driving Bicknell's north, said the text, plus ski resorts, turbines. Then hurricanes in the DR, Cuba deforestation in Haiti are eliminating the winter habitat, and they aren't surviving to return to New England, Piper wrote. Some conditions attracting your beetles are driving out my thrush. Can we share data? Katie, are you there? Thea sounded annoyed now. I'm fine. I'll check in tomorrow. Katie zoomed in on Piper's photos, which showed the beetle farther north than Katie realized. Don't get yourself arrested. Katie could hear Thea's fingernails cantering against her desk. I want to defend your research, but you need to give me irrefutable data and a legal way to prove it. There is no legal way. If this forest burns before I establish the beetles are here, I won't have any way to prove my theory. She looked at Piper's photo again. And it's not just here. They're farther north than I thought. How close are you to the fire? This isn't worth getting killed over. Exactly my point. People are already dying in these fires. If we can prove they're linked to the beetles, we can get the resources to get ahead of them. Thea took in a breath as if to say something, but did not speak. I'm not planning to get caught or hurt, Katie paused. But if I do, I won't bring you into it. As of right now, consider me officially rogue. I have to go. She hung up before Thea could respond. The idea that defying an executive order to collect insect samples could brand Katie, a 5'2" entomologist, as a criminal struck her as funny, despite the potential consequences. Cadence Kessler, outlaw entomologist. She tried to laugh at herself, but the gnawing worry in her gut reminded her the fire was serious. She needed to get down the mountain by nightfall. If they closed the road, she could be trapped, and since no one knew her location, no one would know to look for her. When she got home, she would storm Thea's office, dump bags of dead beetles on her desk and her lap, and nail poisoned wood samples to the wall. No one who examined her evidence would be able to deny the insects had moved from the Rockies to New England. No one would dare arrest her when they understood the threat. I told you so burned sweet on her tongue. Katie shook the envelope to the rhythm of a song she couldn't quite remember. The spirited rustle, like seeds anxious to be planted, emboldened her, even as her body ached under the 50-pound backpack. She trudged on. Only 50 meters to Mount Steady's summit. She could get a better sense of how much time she had from a higher elevation. Smoke scratched the back of her throat, confirming the late summer wind was already pushing the forest fires east. She paused for a sip of water. Working alone in the woods, Katie marked time in elevation and ounces of water. She was running out of both. This drought, this spate of fires, this beetle. As the temperature ratcheted up 4 degrees in less than a century, New Hampshire had practically invited the tiny creature and the fires that came with it. Katie could slow the wildfires if someone would just believe her. The anticipation of being right, of being the hero, had lulled her to sleep the past several nights under the canopy of stars. Cocooned in her sleeping bag, she'd written the opening to her imagined TED Talk. When someone says you're overreacting and you know you're right, keep reacting until it's over. Katie's backpack grew heavier, compressing her knees and spine as if she might crumble into the rock beneath her feet. She forced herself up the final incline. If gravity pulled from the dense fist at the center of the earth, then the higher she pushed herself up the mountain, the farther she removed herself from the core, the looser gravity's grip would be. It tugged at her heels and stole the oxygen from her lungs. Only on the summits did Katie feel a lightness in her chest. She stood untethered in the rushing wind. Anything seemed possible from the top of a mountain. Katie dropped her pack to the ground. A gust whipped her hair across her face, carrying traces of pine and the reedy flute of a distant hermit thrush. Wind stretched the clouds below her like raw cotton on a comb, allowing the rusty tips of dead pine trees to peek through. She pulled samples of tree bark and pine wedges from her backpack and laid them around her in a semicircle. The invasive beetle she had been hunting the last 4 days had carved lacy lines into the wood. The pea-sized creatures were killing off trees and leaving them as kindling in the parched woodlands. She stroked the delicate destruction with her finger. The beetle's telltale blue fungus, the color of the autumn sky before sunset, stained the wood. That color meant death to a pine. She held a wedge to her face and inhaled the freshly cut wood. The tang of sap should have rushed in, but dead trees don't bleed. They burn. Smoke blurred the edge of the mountaintops to the west. Mount Griffin rose from the midst, green on the north slope with a slow-burning char on the south. When she finally convinced crews to start thinning the pines, she would salvage a few trunks to mill into floorboards for her home, if she ever stayed still enough to own a home. The grooves the beetles carved would feel better under bare feet than the slick linoleum in her one-bedroom apartment. From the mountaintop, home felt distant, as if it might not be there when she came down. Time moved more slowly in the woods, sliding by like the lazy flow of pine sap. As a child, she used to imagine the outside world slipping away as she leapt from rock to rock through the ferny woods surrounding her home. The pine and beech trees had been her friends. They had guarded her, swallowed her secrets whole. It was her turn to protect the forest. Silence enveloped the summit, an island of stone floating in the low-hanging clouds. If only time would stop. Right here, right now. The fires would stall, the beetles would stop their assault, and Katy would remain at the top of the world where she could hide from gravity. She tried to quell the twisting in her gut that reminded her the fires represented an opportunity. If they proved to be a bigger threat than expected, and if Katy's research stopped an inferno, it would transform her career, her future. She did not want that fire, but a small voice inside called out to the flames, "Come if you dare." Katy selected a potato-sized stone from the ledge and dusted it against her thigh. She pressed her tongue to the rock, leaving a wet oval to reveal its hidden mineral life. The dull grays and browns of New Hampshire granite burst into streaks of silver and layers of radiant amber at the touch of her saliva. A creamy, jagged vein glowed in the sunlight. The oval shrank as the wind sucked the light from the rock until it reverted to its flat finish. The iridescence of veiled colors fizzed on her tongue. Her mouth watered. She tucked the stone into the bottom of her backpack, cradling it in the center of the tambourine she carried to scare off bears. When she built her own house someday, the rocks she'd collected would form a skirt around her hearth, pieces of every hike, markers of time. The stack of stones, at least 30 by now, formed a cairn in her apartment. She often wondered if the dilapidated building could bear the weight, or if one day it would all come crashing down. Her cell phone buzzed against the granite slab as a text came through. "It's Daniela. They found him." The minerals on her tongue turned to acid. She read and reread the words until they became a jumble of illegible letters and the screen powered down. She hurled a rock off the ledge and held her breath until it struck the slope below, unleashing a torrent of cascading stone. This couldn't be happening. "I'm home. I need you here," Daniela texted again. "They're questioning my dad." Katy imagined the text message in Daniela's childhood voice and didn't restrain the sob that burst out with decades of compressed guilt. More than 25 years had passed since she had spoken to Daniela Garcia. If she acknowledged Daniela, Katy would no longer be able to pretend that long ago summer had never happened. The fiction of Katy's childhood, rewritten and edited so she could sleep at night, would come undone. The single gunshot echoed in her mind. Or she could stay on her mountaintop and turn off her phone. She could hide for a little longer, at least until the fires got too close. She put her head between her knees and stared down at the fissures in the slab. She scratched a rock on the surface of the ledge, leaving white letters next to her wood samples. Katie was here, she wrote. It felt childish, but she traced over the letters until they stood out in bold blocks. Katie was here. Horizontal lines in the granite recorded time, 100,000 years between lines of crystallized minerals. Climbing her mountains meant traveling through time, treading on scars of each millennia. Unknowable, catastrophic events had bent the stone, folding time in on itself. Moments that were never meant to touch, fused together in geological history. She imagined the panic in Daniela's dark eyes. As much as Katie wanted to hide in the woods, the ferocity of the bond Katie once shared with Daniela swelled in her chest, shaming her for wanting to abandon her childhood friend again, as she'd done so many years ago. Her thumbs felt thick and clumsy as she typed a response. On my way to the cottage. Meet me at 9 tonight. The tacky layer of sap, which felt like part of her skin after 4 days of climbing trees, stuck to the screen as she typed. She added 3 rocks to a cairn someone else had built, an offering, a prayer. The chilled morning air telegraphed the metallic peel of mineral against mineral, broadcasting her location into the valley. Daniela, like the forest, had been her ally, her friend, a keeper of her secrets. Katie had played everything like a grand adventure back then, until the game became real. Maybe she had always hoped the truth would rise one day, or maybe she had convinced herself that the deeper she hid in the woods, the more gently she walked this earth, the more likely their secret would stay where they left it, where they left him, buried in the woods. So, I mean, have you ever heard such a gorgeous book? I mean, this is quite extraordinary, and you can see why Waiting for the Night Song has gotten so much acclaim and so much buzz and so much adulation. And readers are absolutely loving it, as I know I did, and as I know you did too. Kristen Vera O'Keefe is saying amazing, and Diane is saying, oh boy, and Susan is saying your words speak volumes and keep going with question marks, and Diana is saying cliffhanger, and Lilia is saying beautiful. Nancy's saying don't stop now. Yes, it is beautiful. I mean, it is this. Robin is saying so evocative and beautiful, and Allie is saying fantastic. Yes, every single one of those words, This is such a gorgeous example of beautiful, evocative, literary writing, but woven through a chilling, thrilling story, a coming-of-age story, a story of friendship, and a story of the environment as well, a story of how every single thing we do, the flutter of a butterfly's wing. I remember Katie and Daniela in the book talking about how they didn't even want to kill one bug because that might ruin everything. And that's such a metaphor for the whole book. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you enjoyed this. Tanya, this is an advanced reader copy, so it looks like a large paperback, but this book is out in hardcover from Forge Books, and it is out right now. And I hope you will look for that wherever you buy books, wherever that may be. And of course, we hope you will go to independent bookstores and buy books from independent bookstores. Hannah and I feel very strongly about that. Keeping those wonderful stores in business is so important, especially now. So they will be here for us when this pandemic is over. And we hope you will be here for us next Tuesday at 12:30. Well, we will bring you another book. Let me show you the cover of this fantastic thriller, Never Tell, by the terrific Kate Anslinger. And I know you will absolutely love this book. So Please be with us at 12:30, where we will read you. Hannah Mary McKinnon and I will read you. Hannah's saying January 12th, 2021. That is when the book came out. Is that right? 1/12/21. That's such a good date. We hope you will be here Tuesday to hear Never Tell by Kate Anslinger. That will be episode number 130, I think. And Hannah and I are already planning for our year anniversary, and we're going to cook up something really special for you. So again, we so enjoyed reading this today, and we so enjoyed talking with you today and seeing you today. And we hope you will look for the fantastic Waiting for the Night Song by the wonderful Julie Dalton. And don't forget to look for the fun facts tomorrow. You will laugh and laugh. We are looking forward to it too, Lilia. Thank you so much, you all, for being here today. And so until next week, stay safe, stay kind, and know we love you so much. Have a great day.